Hi, my name is Dr. Bruce Seaman, and I want to talk to you today about what is homeopathy and the value of using homeopathy for treating many medical conditions. My phone number is 877-332-7899, and there you can see our website, www.nutritioninstitute.com, and the email support@nutritioninstitute.com. I would like to show you our website. Here is all the information on our website, and there are many case studies and case histories of successful treatment on our website which you can view for yourselves. Feel free to contact me in any of those ways. Let's talk about the history of homeopathy. Homeopathy is a medical system which dates back to the early 1800s. It is a system of healing based on bringing out the healing energy from natural substances. The main phrase to know about homeopathy is that it is based on the principle of like cures like. The word homeopathy comes from a Greek word meaning same, or homeo in Greek, plus suffering, pathos. What our Western medical system is that we know if we go to the doctor is called allopathy, which is from a Greek word meaning other, or allos, plus suffering, pathos. Homeopathy was founded and put forth by a man named Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, who lived in Europe, and he lived from the years 1755 to 1843. And homeopathy was a very major part of American medicine in the latter part of the 19th century. In fact, the homeopaths were very valuable doctors, and they were drafted on both sides of the Civil War in the United States. And there were many medical schools which were homeopathic, including the University of Michigan, even to the beginning of the 20th century. What does like cured like mean? And why is that important? Many plants, minerals, and animal substances can cause problems in healthy people. But when these same substances are prepared correctly, they can treat the symptoms in people who are sick. When these substances are prepared correctly or homeopathically, they are called remedies. Homeopathic remedies come in bottles, like you see on the right side of this slide. So how does like cures like work? Now, Dr. Hahnemann was not the first person who said this, but he developed it the most. And this is the way it's explained. The homeopathic remedy, by causing some symptoms, produces an artificial illness. A person suffering from this same kind of illness, if they receive this same remedy, they will become better because the artificial illness is stronger and knocks out or causes a person to get rid of the natural illness. The two illnesses cannot coexist in the same person. Only one will win out, and in this case it's the artificial illness, which ends on its own because it is only an artificial illness, and it knocks out the natural illness. Now let's look at some substances which can cause symptoms in nature. Let's look at some plants, for example. We have cinchona, or China, or perhaps better known today as quinine, which causes fevers. Another one which is of historical importance in England, digitalis, which is from the foxglove plant, which causes changes in heartbeat, usually to be abnormally slow. And we'll take another one which you may know called ipecac, which causes vomiting. Now, let us look at healthy people versus sick people and what happens in like cures like. Cinchona can cause fevers, and malaria is a disease of fevers, and cinchona is used to produce an artificial illness in patients with malaria to knock out the malaria. Ipecac causes vomiting. So in a person who is vomiting, ipecac will cause the vomiting to cease. because it will cause an artificial illness of vomiting, which will then knock out the natural illness of the vomiting. Digitalis causes an abnormally slow, weak heart, and it will treat a person who has an abnormally slow heartbeat by the principle of like cures like. So why should you consider using homeopathy instead of regular medicine? Homeopathy has many advantages. Homeopathy is holistic. That means that to treat with homeopathy, a good practitioner looks at the whole person. All symptoms must be considered, and even sometimes symptoms which do not seem very related to the major problem will be looked at and considered by the homeopath. For example, a person with a lung problem, but if they also have a skin problem, the homeopath will look at both. But an internist might just say, well, you have pneumonia, and then you have to go to a dermatologist, which would mean going to a completely different person. Homeopathy also treats the cause of the illness instead of simply suppressing the symptoms. And this is very important. Other reasons you might consider using homeopathy instead of regular medicine: homeopathic remedies are inexpensive compared with traditional pharmaceuticals. And this difference is becoming more and more prominent every day as pharmaceuticals become more expensive. For example, a bottle of remedies might cost $6 to $12 for a year's supply, compared with many drugs that cost hundreds to even thousands of dollars per month. In addition, remedies have almost no side effects because they match the body's symptoms, and they're used to treat the complete person. Why does homeopathy have few to no side effects? Well, this takes us back to Dr. Hahnemann, who lived and did his primary work around the year 1800 to the year 1840, and he found that only dilute amounts of substance were needed to treat homeopathically. These very dilute amounts, even though they seem to be so little, have sufficient substance to have what homeopaths call healing energy to meet the body's demands without, however, overwhelming it and causing side effects. These remedies are very specific and made for specific symptoms. They do not overwhelm all the body's other systems and defenses. So let us look at some examples to make this a little clearer. Let's talk about something that many of you parents have been through, and that is a child screaming in the night with a suspected ear infection. So a homeopath can look at this and look at the specific symptoms and say that this child has a very irritable disposition, and they're pulling at their ear, and they're very uncomfortable. And a typical remedy for this problem might be the homeopathic remedy chamomilla at a 200C, which is a unit of potency. There's a relatively strong dose, but only 1 or 2 doses might be required. And this may solve the problem within simply a few minutes with no real side effects. The child will simply stop crying and go to sleep, and there will be no more problem with the ear infection. If that doesn't work, another remedy which might be considered would be ferrum phosphoricum, which is also another major remedy for beginning inflammations and infections. However, to go to the regular doctor, first you'd probably have to wait till the next day. Amoxicillin might be prescribed, which might be for 5 to 10 days. This will kill bacteria which can cause ear infections, but also will kill much good bacteria. The child may end up with a yeast infection or other problems, which I discuss these kinds of problems on our website, and the reference is given here. And the ear infection may not be an infection at all, but may simply be a virus and have never needed the antibiotic at all. Let's look at another case, which was much more serious. And this case is described on our website. The reference is given. This is a case I saw of a 15-year-old boy who had suffered several major football injuries, including several major concussions. And he came to me because he was on heavy psychiatric medication. He was not doing very well in school. And the only reason he came to me was because the the other doctor was on maternity leave. I am a board certified psychiatrist and child psychiatrist, and I saw this boy, and he was not doing very well. He was not doing very well in school, and I asked the family if they wanted to be treated homeopathically, and they agreed. The remedy for such a problem is arnica, montana, in this case 200C, again a unit of potency, which is fairly strong. The boy was actually psychotic. He was having hallucinations, was requiring antipsychotic medication. Within 2 weeks, his problem cleared on about 4 doses of arnica. He did fine. He had had the symptoms of this kind of head trauma for at least a year of regular treatment, and as I said, was not doing very well. This case is described more fully on our website, and you can read more of the details there. Okay, what was his treatment if he had not gone this way? He ended up with major psychiatric symptoms from the concussions. He was placed on heavy antipsychotic medication with no end in sight. He was not getting better, and he did not get better until he took the arnica. Now, homeopathy can be complicated at times, and this is one of the reasons that regular doctors have problems with it. Let's look at something more simple, such as a sore throat. Sore throats and treatments by homeopathy depend on a number of factors, such as whether they are on the right or on the left, whether is fever present. Sore throat on the right may be the remedy lycopodium, a sore throat on the left may be lachesis, and a sore throat with a fever, which is very red, might be belladonna. Now, this does not preclude the use of antibiotics if strep is present and this is necessary. What does regular allopathic medicine have to offer? Well, they would suggest pain relievers, such as Tylenol or aspirin, and then they will take a throat culture for a strep throat to see if they need to treat with antibiotics. Now, you might ask about the politics of homeopathy. Homeopathy works in many cases, so why don't more people use it? Why are you not going to hear about this if you go to your regular doctor? I spent 4 years in medical school and never actually heard the word homeopathy. Homeopathy was pushed out by allopathy on the allopathic system politically about 100 years ago. All of the homeopathic medical schools were closed, making homeopathy very hard to learn even to this day. In addition, besides that, and part of the reason this could happen was there was some disagreement within the homeopathic community about the best ways to use homeopathy. More recently, some real experts have helped resolve these problems, and now it's clear what is the best way to go within homeopathy. And this, okay. Doctors often criticize homeopathy because they fear that their patients will forego life-saving treatments for using non-traditional medicine, but one does not have to stop using regular medicines to use homeopathy. Seeing a homeopath does not mean leaving all traditional medical treatments. Homeopathy complements medical treatment if you see the right homeopath. Many people take medications for certain medical conditions while using homeopathy to treat other acute conditions as they arise. And in addition, and certainly for me as a child psychiatrist, there are conditions such as autism which have no real medical treatment. However, autism responds to homeopathy, and I am developing more effective remedies. I describe my autism practice on our website, and there is the link to this. Can I do this for myself? No. The short answer is no, unless you are treating something like the screaming child in the night with an ear infection, and the first remedy works within a few minutes. Homeopathy requires serious study for chronic conditions and even for many acute conditions. And homeopathy requires a healthcare practitioner who is experienced in treating the whole person and also knows how homeopathy fits in and about various alternatives. Homeopathy is not herbal medicine, however. It is different. I can treat people in 3 different states, Wisconsin, California, and New York. But the National Center for Homeopathy also maintains a provider directory. They are in Virginia, and the link to their website is given here. Please contact me if you have concerns or would like to know more about homeopathy. I'm always glad to answer any inquiries, and thank you very much for paying attention to this video.